but you also have to recognize how light works. If you're doing noon sun and it's beating down on you, you're going to get a lot of hard shadows. You know what I mean? You'll see it, or the subject matter that you're photographing, it'll be like really like bright, and then you'll see all these shadows underneath, and you're like, it doesn't look the way I imagine it.
Hey, 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 what's good, everybody? We are back with another Photog Talk, and we have with us Seronda. Keep saying eventually I'm gonna have to put hit like a button so I can have like the applause and people like, I ain't even had no coffee today. How you doing, Seronda?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. I am so glad that we were able to coordinate schedules to get you on our Photog Talks. Woo! So, what state? Let's start with that. What state are you in?
I am in Ohio. I'm in the Midwest.
Ohio. Oh, wrong. That's kind of like Ohio. If y'all didn't know, I'm born and raised Cleveland, so it's good to have somebody that's from Ohio up in here.
Yeah.
And with you being in Ohio, let me, we'll get into how did you get into photography?
That's interesting. I started off sewing. I had a sewing blog and I would make dresses, tops, whatever. And I was using my cell phone to take the pictures
Mm-hmm.
before I put it on my sewing blog. And then I wanted something different. I wanted something that took a little bit better picture. So I started looking at, little point and shoots. And then they start going into this rabbit hole of aperture and, aperture priority and shutter speed. And I was like, what is all that? So then, you jump on YouTube, like, oh, okay. So now I need a camera that has all these different, dials and levers. And okay, and after I started doing that, and I started to go out into the park because I wanted to practice what is aperture. If I do my
Mm-hmm.
shutter speed like this, and no one's going to sit with you and be patient while you try to take pictures of them. So I went to the park and I just found objects, and I just each time I practice maybe shutter speed. The next day I practice aperture, and I bring them back home and I look at the picture. I go, that's a nice flower. That's a nice tree. And then next thing you know, instead of doing it for the sewing blog, I was doing it just to do it because it was instant gratification. You know what I mean?
Okay.
If
Mm-hmm.
you've ever sewn before, you put together garments, it takes time. I can go out there, take a picture, come home, throw it on Lightroom. There you are. So it started to feed the creative space that sewing had at the beginning.
So, did you end up not taking pictures of the clothes?
I did for a while, but then I got so caught up in doing it. And then when I started, I started to post different things and people will react to it. And, you run back out because you got an instant, how do you would say, an instant excitement, an instant gratification from it. So then you run back out there and do it again. And I just got caught up in the blog. I still sew, but the sewing blog is kind of slow. And then this, the the photography went up and the sewing blog went down, and I just sewed privately for myself.
Okay, and with the photography going up, what are the subjects that you like to capture?
I started off with I'm still there with flowers and trees
Mm-hmm.
because I live in the inner city. We
Okay.
have like you have maybe a single tree here or there, but not that often. And I right now I live real close to a park. So I would just go over, I'd see something. I love like tulips and daffodils. And, I would look at them and they just seem like they have personality. Like, oh, this one's sad. Oh, this one's happy. And then I actually started to take pictures of them like they were portraits. And I just got caught up in anything that caught my eye after that.
So how long ago did discover YouTube University?
I'm up to an R8, so that's where I'm at right now. So
Yeah,
I
I didn't
started
know
off,
what
I
she was
did
using
movies for a
before.
second and went to the
This is all coincidental. I didn't know that she was gonna say Canon. You're testing the stuff that you have learned on YouTube University in photography. And you go out, you're taking pictures, you're testing aperture, you're testing shutter, and with light. Now you're hooked. You're buying more cameras. What has been the challenging thing thus far for you 6 years into it?
I think finding the time because it's not my full-time job. You
Hmm.
have to fit it into life. You have life responsibilities, going to work, taking care of family. And then when you do have time to go out, the light may not be right. You know what I mean? Or if you're going into a park, there's people, there may like be a crowd and people are stopping going, what you doing? You're like, so yeah, I think basically right now it's just finding the time.
Okay. And given the subject matters that you capture, what is the hardest part that you find in capturing those subjects?
Their location. It can be a very beautiful tree, it can be a very beautiful flower, but it may have a trash can behind it. It may be the perfect shape, what you want.
Hmm.
So you have to be careful as far as the background is concerned. So you may have to move yourself a little bit here, move yourself a little bit there, or maybe you'll find one, but it's in the shade and doesn't have that much light. So how do I get light to it? And those the environmental factors around it. I
And
think that
do
can be the
you
most difficult.
how do you deal with the challenge of light?
One of the times I like is when it's overcast. It has a beautiful, like a softbox effect. And then I'll have like LED lights. And what if it has a softbox effect? I'll put on like a little small tripod
Hmm.
and I'll put the LED light onto whatever I'm shooting and it makes it look like artificial light. Like, oh, there's there's like, sunlight coming through or, it's sunset and that helps a lot with the lighting.
So would you consider yourself a woman that is like, okay, let me check the weather for the week because I'm gonna need to get outside. What are we doing? Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Because there have been 1 or 2 days that I've gone out that I had no plans on going out because, oh, sunset's going to be perfect. And, there's like different apps you can get, like golden hour, and you can put the time in there, and, it has like a little dial, and you know exactly when it's going to hit. And you're thinking, like, I got to go because I would take like cell phone pictures.
Hmm.
Maybe I pass by someone and go, oh, I gotta remember that pop. I gotta remember this pop. And then I put that little location in that little golden hour app, and it would tell me what time the sun was going to hit it. And then you can weather forecast is like, partly cloud, which is perfect. You don't want sun, but if you get like a nice partly cloudy sunset or something, like this is perfect. And you like, okay, it's 4 o'clock. I gotta go now. And you're going to you gotta run over there and get it the right time.
And what you talking about, like golden hour, overcast skies,
Mhm,
for a person that's, watching this and getting into photography,
mhm.
what are those things that, when you're talking about, like I said, golden hour and overcast skies, is that something that a person that's starting should look for? Why would they not want to be out, let's say, in a bright sun and a blue sky?
Some of it is your style and what you're going for, but you also have to recognize how light works. If you're doing noon sun and it's beating down on you, you're going to get a lot of hard shadows. You know what I mean? You'll see it, or the subject matter that you're photographing, it'll be like really like bright, and then you'll see all these shadows underneath and you're like, it doesn't look the way I imagine it. So photography, it's basically capturing light. What kind of light do you want in a photo? And sometimes that bright light and shadow works well. Some people do like street photography, or they do different other photographies of architecture, and that light is perfect. But it depends on what you want. So you have to figure out, what is your style? What do you want? I like portraiture. So for soft light is important because you want the subject to look its best.
Okay, so that answered my question because I was going to ask you about, well, do you feel that you have a style right now? So you already answered that.
Yes. Hmm.
So it's more portraiture of the flowers,
Hmm.
and just nature overall. Are there any other
Yeah.
subjects that you are drawn to when you're out?
Mm, I haven't done much outside of nature. The only thing I've done outside of this actual portraiture, I've done weddings and I've done like engagement photos. I like those, but those come every so often. But any kind of portraiture, whether it's a still life or a person, I actually like that. Yeah,
How do you handle the Ohio winters?
I don't. I don't. I don't.
So we're not going outside capturing any ice or, snowflakes.
Well, let's see. I do have arthritis, so the wintertime is hard on my hands.
Okay.
And I think one of the hardest shoots I ever had was the wintertime. We had snow. We had several inches. Everything was covered, but it was that wet snow that stayed on the tree branches. And I
Hmm.
looked outside. I was like, okay, you gotta get together. You gotta go. You gotta do this. You gotta do this. And I got all my stuff on. You know how you get once you get all wrapped up, you kind of walking like this, and I, I took pictures and everything, and they came out beautiful. But then when I came back home, I was also like this.
Oh no.
I was like, no, no, no. I'll stick to my spring, summer, and fall, and I'll take enough pictures that I can post during the wintertime.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of people do that. There are people that are just like, oh no. I've come across people that are like, I am not coming outside in the summer. They will wait
Yeah.
for every other season, and it's like summer, they're like, nope. Like, really? Hmm. When it comes to photography, a lot of people hear, well, it's the photographer's eye. Oh, no, no, it's the camera. It's the camera that makes a difference, or it's both. What do you say to that?
I think it's the photographer. What do you want to portray? What image do you want to show to everybody? What do you want? Like if I take a picture of a flower, I want you to get the mood of the flower when you see it. At the same time, gear can matter because if I'm doing cloudy days, if I'm doing sunsets, we're talking low light. And if you really want the best, image, then you're talking about a camera that can handle high ISOs. It makes a difference. But I think when you first start, the camera don't matter because you don't know what you're doing. You're learning. You're learning how the camera works. You're learning, like we said, those three pillars. The aperture, the shutter, the ISO, and then you're learning what you want to photograph. Is it going to be landscape? Is it going to be wildlife? I've done some wildlife. Is it going to be wildlife? Is it going to be sports? If it's sports, then you're going to have to get into some heavy, you're going to have to get into bodies that do like a lot of, as we say, frames per second. You're doing wildlife, you get into some serious lenses. Whereas if you're doing landscape like we do, I think we have the most choices for gear. You can get an old DSLR as long as you got a tripod. You can make it stay still, even if it's low light, and still stay at low ISO, and get the picture you want. So that's the advantages for us. But I do say it starts off. You learn you learn photography, you learn your style, then you'll learn whether your gear is holding you back or not.
Okay. How has photography shaped the woman that you are today?
It makes me stop and take notice. We're always running, you're always going, you got responsibilities. I got to get to work, I got to go to the store. you're fighting traffic. When I go into the park, I'm just concentrating. Where am I at? Where's the light at? How's the breeze going? What position I got to get in. So it makes you slow down it makes me slow down and be in the moment.
I love that. Yeah, a lot of people are just, I gotta get a picture. I gotta get a picture.
Mm-mm. That's half the
No,
fun is
it's
going through
a
the process.
right. It's a whole process. There are times
Hmm.
where I will associate like people who go play golf, right?
Ah.
People who want to go to just be out and walk on a beautiful course and just be outside. And then
Hmm.
you have people that's like, I gotta get these numbers. I gotta have a par three. I gotta have an eagle and all that. And I'm like, okay, I just like going out there and being in nature and just hit the ball, whatever, But um, with you being with nature and landscape, have
Hmm.
you ever had a vision? I'm sure you have. Have you ever
Hmm.
had a vision of a shot that you wanted to take, and it was the most challenging vision, and you were like in the process of doing it, and you were just like, oh my gosh. Have you ever had that situation?
Not one I can think off the top of my head. For the
Oh,
same
good.
reason we were just talking. I'm just going out there. I want to take a picture. I want to relax, enjoy myself. And half the time, it's not what you're imagining. Let's say tulips are out. I'm going to go take tulips. And then I go and I see something like, oh, ooh, that, oh. And then I'll start, photographing whatever that is. But no, I have no preconceived ideas when I go out. I'm
What
just going out to find something that draws me to take a picture of it.
I love that. What keeps you motivated or inspired when it comes to photography? Do you find yourself like, let's say, a bookstore and you're like flipping through Better Homes and Garden and you're like, I like how they took that photo. Or is there a channel on YouTube where you're like, I like that person.
I do have YouTube channels that I like, but there's like a small community on Instagram. We follow each other and we encourage each other. There's a couple people that photograph picture craze. She does a lot of sunset photography. And then sometimes I'm not in the mood. I'm like, yeah. And then she'll post something and I'll go, shut up, shut up. That was just and I'll comment on it's like that's gorgeous, so and so and so. Like, thank you so much. And then you're like, wow, I got to get a shot. You know what I mean? It makes you. It's a soft, push to go out, and then you go out and you get a shot and you post it, and then they're like, oh. So it's kind of like a back and forth type, softball, like you're tossing a ball in a group to each other. You get
Mm.
the ball and you toss it to somebody else. So I think that's what motivates me. And then just the end product. I like editing just as much as I do for the photography part of it.
Do
It's
you
like coloring for adults.
Oh, I love that. Do you have a particular editing software that you prefer over any other?
Lightroom right now, and I do some Snapseed too. It
What was the other
depends.
one?
Snapseed.
Oh, okay. I never heard of that one.
Hmm. It's an old Google editing software before I got into Lightroom. Sometimes I do that, but mostly in Lightroom Mobile is what I use.
Hmm. Do you spend a lot of hours editing? Or do you really work? Because there are some people that will be like, you know what? I will fix it all in post. And they will spend a lot of hours trying to fix an image. Or do you prefer, I want to get as much as the finished product when I'm capturing at that time?
I want to get as much in camera as I can.
Okay.
Then I know if I get certain things in camera, I have my own presets I can add and edit to. What I mean? I know my editing style, like, oh, I can take that branch out, or, I can make the light just a little bit warmer, but it's usually accentuating what I already have. If it's not in the picture, I can't make it happen in editing. That's just no. Mm-mm.
Yeah, with AI these days, it's like I'll see images, for example, a waterfall. I was on a waterfall hike, and where was this one? This one was in, I want to say I was in Oregon.
Hmm.
And I ended up seeing a photo of this same waterfall, and I'm like looking at the surroundings, and I'm like, hold up. Because there's this area up in California, I think it's called Devil's Post Pile. And the
Hmm.
way that, okay, so here I'm looking at this image of this
Hmm.
waterfall in Oregon with this like the surroundings similar to Devil's Post Pile. And I'm like, I know I didn't was no. And this person was standing like on this solo island, and they had said, Oregon waterfall, and they said this, and I like immediately went to the comments. I'm like, I know somebody else has to be saying like, no, this is not that waterfall, you know. How do you feel like now with AI? Do you feel that that is a challenge for photographers such as yourself, where it's like, this is what I'm taking, of course, we're going to tweak out like if there's a branch or we want to
Hmm.
accentuate the light, right? But, if you see a flower and it's sticking out of freaking
Drastic.
Yosemite's water, fire fall, and it's just like, there are so many people that are like, they'll look at these images, these AI images, and they're like, they'll send it to me and they're like, have you been there? I'm like, no one has been there because it's AI.
I think it stops me sometimes from making the picture as beautiful as I can make it. Because if I take it to its ultimate limit of how it could look after I edit it, then it's like it has that AI look. It's people look at it like they automatically assume anymore now. Before AI, they just knew that you took the picture, you edited, and they appreciate just as much your editing style as they did your photography. But now I find myself pulling back on my edit. So
Hmm.
you'll know this is not AI. And then sometimes too, I'll make the background not as blown out,
Hmm.
or more in focus, so you'll know this is a bed of flowers, there's a little tire of a car going by. AI is not going to put that in there. You know what I mean? You're looking for the perfect sunset, the flower in the field by itself, which what flowers in the field by itself. But it makes me pull back on my editing, I think, to
Okay.
make it's real.
So after talking about AI, I'm gonna switch gears here. No pun intended. What's the one item that you have to have in your camera bag whenever you go out, other than the basic camera and a tripod? It's like it's always in your camera bag.
Something to take notes with.
Oh,
Something to take notes with.
okay. All right.
Hmm.
That's a first. I love
Yeah.
that. So you jot down like, okay.
Yeah, it's like I'll be taking a photograph, I'll see something, and then maybe I'll go over to somewhere else, and maybe the light's not the best that time of day where that the no, I don't want to say item, the maybe the flower or the tree is at. So
Hmm.
I'll make notes of, this tree over here, such and such location. Or with a tree, it'll have maybe around the trunk was, give me the idea. Take pictures of items around the trunk of the tree to make like a carousel, like a little story. And
Ah,
then I'll take those notes back out with me the next time, and I'll go, oh, that's right. I was thinking about doing such and such. I wonder if the light's good today, and go over and do that.
I love that. Like, take the notes. And I like to also ask this question.
Hmm.
If money was no object, where would you go for photography?
The cherry blossoms in Japan when they bloom,
Oh.
and any place in Ireland. I mean, that's just yeah. Everywhere you turn around, there's something to photograph. It's so beautiful and scenic. I think it would be, like you'd be like a kid in a candy store going around that. going in Ireland. It would be beautiful.
They're like, look, I don't care where I start. I'm gonna take pictures of everything because all expenses are paid.
Yes. Hmm.
Do
Yep.
you,
And digital, I can take as many pictures as I want to.
right? When I
Hmm.
when I started back eons ago, and I was using, well, before I was using cartridges, and got to film, and it's like I remember being so excited when it's like, oh, I can get me 336 rows of exposures for $12. And now, like with the comeback of film, and I'm like, how much did you spend on that roll? I'm like, and then you got to get it developed. I remember 1 hour photo. I was like, oh, I'm gonna give myself an hour. Be sitting in the parking lot, go in and like, it's not ready yet. Not ready.
But sometimes just that one little makes all the difference. I mean, that's the reason why wildlife photographers and they like someone with a high frame rate because just that one little made a difference in a photograph. So or maybe the light hit just right at the right moment. You know what I mean? It's
Exactly. Oh my gosh. You like just a little bit like this, like this. With it now being 2025 and we
mm-hmm,
are way past, the pandemic,
mm-hmm,
and so many groups have emerged, after the pandemic where, you'll see more of us out on trails, pushing more of us being out in nature. How do you feel now in 2025 when it comes to the community of Black photographers or African American photographers out in this
mm-hmm.
genre? Do you feel that there are more, that it's the same, or that it's less?
I think for us, it's such an isolated experience. Just us, I think, as a people and as a culture, if I'm going out there, I'm going out there for a peaceful time. I'm going to relax. I ain't thinking about Jack and Jill over here, Nancy and Drew over that way. You're kind of like off to yourself. And I think it's not so much that we're underrepresented as that we just don't represent ourselves. We don't share that part of it. You know what I mean? We may share the picture with you. Here, you can have the picture. See what I did? But the process of me going out and looking for what I want to look for, setting up my camera, doing all that other stuff, I think it's our happy place. It's our place of solitude where we relax. So I think we're not as inclined to include people in on that part of it because I know there's people in my life that still don't know I take photographs. My closest family do, but a lot of people they have no idea that I do it.
But hopefully they will soon because we hope that they subscribe, like, and comment on this YouTube channel. No, yeah, I totally get what you're saying as far as with that because, that's a lot of, what we try and do is, like, hey, I can see these amazing images, but I'm not seeing you, right? And it's
No,
like
we don't
we
get in
need to
front
be
of the camera.
seen.
Behind it, yes. In front of it, no. Mm-mm.
Right, like let me see y'all up here talking about no one's out here. Yeah, yeah, there are people out there. Y'all just think trying to put your face somewhere on
Well,
the
how I know if you're out there if I can't see you?
that right
You know,
there.
yeah, we make it such a it's me time. We look at it as me time. And then you go, ain't nobody do it but me. Well, because you made it me time, not we time. So that's why you don't know that any other people are out there. I think that's our biggest thing.
There, that y'all heard that. It's a new year. Let's make some changes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, before we wrap this up, is
Hmm.
there any, I know we talked about how important it is to like learn like the exposure triangle and
Mhm,
learn light. And you've mentioned, learning how to use your camera,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
Is there any other advice that you would have for our viewers watching this interview, mainly focusing on beginners?
Enjoy the process. Take your time. Like we were just saying, it used to be filming was expensive. Now it's digital and you can do it as much as you want. Don't be intimidated about what other people do. I know
Mm.
for me, I do flowers, trees, leaves, and some people may be like, I take mountains, I take waterfalls, I take, seascapes, and, you may feel a little intimidated, like, well, take, what's in the park. But whatever you like it, enjoy it. If you don't like the subject matter, you're not going to enjoy the photography. So find what you like to photograph and then really get into what you need to learn. YouTube University is free. If you learn you love, like maybe you're a bird watcher, you love birds. Go in there, look at wildlife. There's plenty of people that do it. Know what you need, what gear you need to save up for. Listen to the advice they give you. You may have to wait a long time. You may have to do this. You may have to do that. If you're going to get into intimate landscapes like I do, you need to learn about your flowers. What time of year do they come? When do they bloom? When are they hot? When are they at their peak? When does fall come? Why do leaves change? Whatever subject you get into, learn as much as you can about it.
That right there. Y'all better take notes. Y'all better pause the video, rewind it. Okay. Start taking your notes because right there is amazing advice. Amazing. People just, yeah, it's more than just, you know, learn
You
it.
gotta,
It's like, yeah,
yeah,
anything
learn
that
it.
you learn. You don't just get behind the steering wheel of a car and just figure it out. Gosh, I hope
No, learn it.
not.
Enjoy it. You
Mm,
know.
mm. Wow. Thank you so much, Seronda. Can you share where people can find your work?
I am under Kaywayneflor on Instagram. I do also have a blog, a photography blog under the same name, Kaywayneflor. You can find me at those two locations.
All right. Well, there you have it, everybody. Photog Talk with Seronda, aka Kaywayneflor. You find her on Instagram, find her blog. We will definitely include all of that information in the comments. Please, 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 y'all know what I'm getting ready to say. Like the video, comment, share, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, because in order for us to get these videos seen, we gotta push it. We need y'all to
Yeah,
push it, uh, push it. Okay.
we gotta stop making my happy place and make it our happy place.
Hey, it gets us out there. It calms us down.
That's
Nature is
it.
just therapeutic. Sometimes you
That's
just need to
it.
have
That's it.
your time. You
That's
know,
it.
there's
That's it.
nothing wrong with that. Every once in a while, get together with people. That's cool. Yeah,
But
but
it's there, like you said, it's therapy. It's free therapy.
it is,
Yeah,
huh?
therapy.
And yeah. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you guys on the next video. Black female landscape and nature photographers, Photog Talk.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one.